Hey, I am Rafid, and I am really camera shy, right? I'm super awkward when it comes to talking in front of a camera, which is strange because I've given speeches in front of like 100 plus people, and I've also made countless Loom videos or like tutorials for a lot of my clients, right? But it's very weird when you're making actual content because you don't know like what's gonna happen, right? You don't know how people are gonna perceive it, so I've never done it. It's one of the first times I'm doing it, so bear with me. So I'm Rafit, and I'm the founder of Refresh. We specialize in writing LinkedIn posts from messy thoughts for founders like me, right? Um, I personally deal with ADHD, and I also deal with anxiety when writing posts, and that's something that I found to be a huge problem when it comes to creating content. And and if I'm having this problem, chances are a lot of people are having it, right? So that's one of the reasons why I started Refresh, and we've been getting some good signals, but it was not always the case, right? Um, a bit about me: I don't like to be vulnerable in front of a lot of people, and I don't like to be sensitive in front of a lot of people too. And I've always been that way because I figured, what's the use of talking about it, right? But then I figured if I'm having that problem, tons of other founders are having the same problem, and there's a lot of people who are like not ready to show their faces on camera or like build up face value for their personal brands, yeah. And I considered myself to be that founder who doesn't have time to create content. That's an excuse that I always told to myself, right? Like, I don't have time to do anything, but here I am, after understanding the face value factor, because a lot of founders don't ever show their faces, and they end up like their businesses end up failing. Yeah, because on LinkedIn, what I've been seeing is there's a lot of people, um, there's a lot of founders who have succeeded, and those are the founders who generally show their faces. They're like comfy showing their pictures or videos or like however things have like evolved throughout their lives, right? All the wins, all the successes. But it's not the same for me. I I always thought myself to be more of an employee than a founder, because I worked remotely for quite a lot of agencies throughout my life. I have worked for high converting content as a copywriter, and I've also worked for a couple of gigs at multi-million dollar ARR companies, and I've also worked for uh, companies in my country, and I always figured that I would always be someone who's reporting to somebody, right? It's like I have somebody to tell my stats to, like all the wins that I've had. So this is kind of a new experience for me where I'm sitting down and I'm like having to like just like talk about myself for a bit and potentially get things out there. So I'm doing all of this to keep myself accountable for a lot of things, because since I deal with ADHD and posting anxiety, I have figured a lot of my fear comes from stuff that I've been given power to, right? I've been giving power to this mysterious force that prevents me from showing myself or talking in front of the camera. But I think that's one of the reasons why I have been trying to like come out of my shell, right? So to speak. Like I said, it's all very weird because at the end of the day, like I do conduct a lot of meetings. I do conduct a lot of like Loom videos, right? I do all of that. I don't know if LinkedIn's gonna be the right place to do it, but at the same time, I think it's where my ICP lives, and it's where like a lot of founders like me lives, and I think it will do everything some justice. So I'm gonna be doing more of these as we go forward, because uh my agency hasn't really like taken off yet, right? We're still in the very infantine stages. We do have a niche, we do have a product, and we do have some great results, but it's not at the point where we can scale it yet, right? Because we did try out some stuff that was not meant for us, because a few months back we started off as like an agency that did everything, right? Like a marketing agency that did everything, like everything you could think of: graphics, graphic design, brand identity, logo making, and everything, right? We did everything essentially, event branding, and it failed because I don't come from a SEO background, right? I don't come from a graphic designing background. I have a very minimalistic sense of how to create stuff, In fact, the logo that I made was just made from logo that I made for Refresh was made from my own understanding of what makes a good logo, right? Not necessarily following the traditional practices of like what actually makes a good logo. So, um, we tried to do everything at once and we failed, and that's when I realized that damn, like I wasn't really making anything from it because I wasn't doing something that I was good at. So I got back to the drawing board and I met my co-founder Wilfred, right? And like he was with me from the very beginning, and he still is with me now, and I'm very grateful to him for it. And we both sat down and we decided like, what are we good at? What are we really good at? We're good at writing, of course. I personally, me, I've published a book, a science fiction novella in 2019, and him, he hates reading, right? He hates reading, but at the same time, he's been getting into writing as well. And we both decided to like go with copywriting, something that's been like really useful to both of us, right? As a source of making money. And it has been the same for me. Like I'm a very money centric person, and he's not, and that's fine. Like both of us are separate ways, but we both decided on a middle ground that we both would be able to like take forward, and that was copywriting. And since I have my own experience and we're working for so many agencies and like companies abroad, I decided that LinkedIn writing is something that a lot of people are struggling with. Even with ChatGPT, there's like tons of founders who are using it, but it's not necessarily resonating with the ICP, right? It's really not, because what what founders like me usually like to do is like, well, like we just like abuse ChatGPT, right? And we just like take whatever ideations it's like spitting out at us, and we're taking that and we're putting that into LinkedIn, and it's just like full of rocket emojis and like stuff that really does not make sense or resonates with you as a person. So the best way to counter that is definitely being genuinely human, because a lot of people have a lot of thoughts that they want to say, but they don't have that avenue to say it. And we're trying to solve that problem. We're trying to come in and we're sitting down with these founders, and we're helping them conduct we're conducting one-on-ones with these founders, and we're like sitting down with them, asking them questions, and we're getting content ideations out, and we're using our own system to make sure that the content is as fine-tuned to them as it possibly can be. I've got some good results with that, and there's a lot of people who've got some good results with that system that we use for them, and I use that on my own content system as well, and we got a quite a lot of good results from that. We got like 1,000, or I believe 1.5k impressions from there, and we're still experimenting, right? So I think going forward, I'll be doing more of these, and I'll be updating on how we're moving the business forward and how we're gonna slowly, evolve the product that we have. We're creating a lot of automations and workflows, and I'm sure a lot of them would be like suited for our business. Um, we're in the midst of creating an application, basically, that's gonna automate the process that we're currently doing, like sitting down with all of these founders and like conducting interviews. But that's like in the far future. For now, it's October 30th, almost Halloween. I think it's Halloween, yeah. And we have zero revenue. There's like nothing coming in. We are burning cash, and that's fine because we're experimenting and we changed our niche, and we're going ahead with something that we both believe is gonna work. It's a huge market out there and a lot of potential, a lot of things to learn. And going forward, I believe that this will work out, and I'll be updating you guys more about it in the next journal that I make. And that's pretty much it from my side for this week. Thank you.